There are not enough words in your simple tongue to express our hatred for them, human. Killers, despoilers, slavers and thieves we name them, but not one of these oft-earned titles begins to describe the depths of their depravity. They have neither mercy nor honor. They roam and kill in darkness called up by their foul sorceries. They are so base as to specifically target children for their depredations. The capricious folk of Ulthuan claim that they are their despised kin, exiled ages ago, but truly, can one ever trust the words of an elf?
Who are they? They are sorrow, pain, misery, misguided souls, bound to darkness, led by a damned prince who refused to accept his true destiny, and will one day suffer as no other because of it. They embrace chaos with open arms, as much of their debauched society is given over to the worship of Cain, the lord of murder. They live in fear, comforted only by the lies that they repeatedly whisper to each other as they nurse their old wounds. They are terrible, seek them not. I will say no more. Naggaroth, the land of chill, is a bleak and forbidding continent that is as unforgiving as the dark elves who have it as their home. Its northern plains are barren and wide-swept expanses, broken only by jutting outcrops of rock and magic-stained rivers. Their waters, sluggish and black, crisscross the ice fields, carving elaborate canyons and deep ravines in the frozen ground. Further south, the thin soil is more fertile, allowing sparse pine forests to grow. Here the Dark Elves have huge plantations to feed the cities, with slaves who labour until they drop dead, their bodies left to nourish the barren soil. The Dark Elves live in 6 heavily fortified cities. Their innumerable towers built from black stone, rising like sinister pinnacles into the dark storm clouds. All of these cities are evil places, steeped in death and agony. Their lightless dungeons are crammed with captives, whose wailings fill the air, and whose moans seep through the thick walls of the high towers, saturating the soul with pain and misery. From the tips of the high towers, above the filth and smog of the sacrificial fires, the sorceresses cast their malign magic over the world. The Druchii, or the Dark Elves, as the other races call them, are but one of 3 great civilizations to have sprung from Ulthuan's cradle, the homeland of the elf species, although they dismiss the others as snivelling and effete weaklings, unfit to inherit the legacies of ancient times. Ancient times here meaning the age of endless glory, as it is known to history, and the times before this where the elves lived in peace in the company of the Old Ones and learnt many things from them. The Old Ones, of course, are the creators of the oldest sentient species on the Warhammer world. East of Naggaroth, still rooted to the fractured lands of Ulthuan, dwell the High Elves, the Asur. Between these 2 realms there can never be peace, for the betrayals of old were just the opening volleys in a close-fought and bitter war that only escalated as millennia have flowed past. Whilst Dark Elves aim to rule the world, they at least make their ambitions plain. Not so the High Elves, who seek control under the guise of protection and care not what consequence they might have on other lands. Further eastward still upon a continent infested with humans and other barbaric primitives, lies Athaloran, the realm of the Wood Elves, the Azrae. The Wood Elves are held in contempt by both the Dark Elves and the High Elves, for they seek neither to rule nor control, only to endure. The Dark Elves, not so unlike their High Elven brethren, possess a cold, if not glamorous beauty, which only helps hide the corruption and vileness which lurks beneath their skin. All elves are beautiful, but such beauty is different between the three races of elves. The beauty of the Asur is one of light and glamour, whilst the beauty of the Azrae is feral and wild. Yet the beauty of the Dark Elves is a cold beauty, being said to take men's breath away, both figuratively and literally, of course. No matter their allegiance, all elves are long-lived to the point of immortality, possessed of a self-assurance that falls little short of otherworldliness. They are swift of both body and reflex, capable of an effortless grace that shames the most elegant of men. Though all elves can broadly be accounted equal, the Dark Elves deem that only they make full use of their natural gifts, for they alone of elven kind do not allow such concepts as mercy and tradition to shackle their deeds. The elves are cunning of mind and clever beyond the ken of mere mortals. Their every word conceals a depth of meaning that is altered wholly by the slightest change of inflection stance. Dark elves in particular are adept at the art of twisting speech to serve their cause, and can gleefully manipulate the emotions of another to whatever end is best for their own interests. Thus do the Naggarothi make and break alliances in a careless fashion, knowing that their silver tongues can always be counted upon to heal the wounds of the past. It is this, more than anything else, which renders Dark Elf society so opportunistic and impetuous. When the deeds of old can be erased by a cleverly spoken word, what need is there for integrity in law? Though a Dark Elf's swiftness of mind and deftness of body serve him well individually, it is the combination of the two which grants him such murderous powers in battle. Every detail of an opponent's poise and stance speaks volumes to an attentive elf, telling him not only where and when the enemy intends to strike, but also the manner in which the act of attacking will weaken his foe's guard. Thus has many an enemy died, midway through a blow that he thought fit to end the fight, his life stolen by an impossibly swift blade, guided by a quicksilver mind. Chaos has left its mark upon the elves, just as it has on almost all the races of the world. In this race, however, the power of the dark gods has taken a subtle form. It has fanned the arrogance of the elven soul, reinforcing all that is prideful and hubristic. Long ago, compassion could have been said to be the elves' defining trait, for such was the nature granted them by the Old Ones. But now, generosity has been eclipsed by narcissism, empathy by conceit. However, chaos has not changed all the elves in equal manner. To the Wood Elves, it has made them isolationist, deniers of the wider world who blindly hope that, so long as their realm knows order, no danger can threaten it. The High Elves have become ever more stubborn, having gained certainty beyond the word's ability to convey, that they, and they alone, can shield the world against the perils that it faces. For the Dark Elves, however, chaos has brought enlightenment, the knowledge that the world exists only for the pleasure of the strong. They have embraced this revelation with a burning passion that shames the cold hearts of their ancient cousins. Indeed, it may yet set the very world afire. For the Dark Elves, all of the world's bounty is theirs to do with as they wish, provided that they have the strength to claim it. They have turned aside from the benevolent gods of their pantheon, flocking instead to the worship of their more capricious and cruel deities, in particular Cain, the god of murder. It is a match well made, for the Dark Elves care nothing for the sanctity of life, and consider the lesser races to be nothing more than insects, begging to be ground beneath a boot heel, if no more productive or entertaining use can be found for them. Naturally, the Dark Elves consider all other races inferior, even those who approach them with skill and intellect. The Naggarothi dismiss as weaklings, sneering at the laws and traditions that waste resources, nurturing the weak even as they shackle the ambitions of the strong. The Dark Elves have no such restraint. In Naggaroth, the weak perish and the strong take whatever they desire. None of this is to say that the Dark Elves wish to see all other races exterminated out of hand. So as long as mines must be worked, farms must be tended, fortresses must be raised, and ritual sacrifices are required to win the favour of the gods, there will always be a place for primitives in the realm of Naggaroth. Indeed, some of the more capable barbarians can even be wielded as weapons in their own right, manipulated by threats, trinkets, and empty promises into assailing the shores of hated Ulthuan, or else wreaking havoc upon the high seas. Only the High Elves have no hope of survival under the yoke of Naggarothi rule, for every Dark Elf dreams of the day when their ancient enemies would at last be scoured from every corner of the world. None consider the possibility that, when the last High Elf dies, screaming in agony upon Cain's altar, that ultimate victory might leave a void of purpose that is impossible to fill. On that day, the Dark Elves will learn just how much of their souls have been devoured by their ancient hatred, and they may not find the tally to their liking.